Hello and welcome to the Functional Forum. We are here at the Integrated Healthcare Symposium in New York. It's great to be here in San Francisco. We are here at the AIC Annual International Conference for the Institute for Functional Medicine. We are here in Orange County, California.
So glad to be in Boulder. Thanks so much for coming out. We have a full house.
We've got an unbelievable show tonight. This time we've come to the IFM's annual conference in Austin, Texas. Record attendance tonight. Great for you all to be here. I've got my pass. Let's get into it. Thanks so much everyone for watching. We've got an epic lineup tonight of speakers. We've got an awesome panel here. Amazing group of functional doctors, technology, activists for a leap forward in medicine. If you've been following the news, you know that personalized medicine is all the rage. You got to come and follow the crowds. Doctors are coming here by the thousands to see what the future of medicine looks like.
This is a great gathering.
I thought it was fantastic.
I enjoyed it tremendously. The speakers, especially Kelly Brook, were really very inspiring.
You know, our goal is to make it easy for practitioners to learn in community.
There's a lot of community happening tonight. I want to say welcome to all of the communities that are watching at home. We want to engage the power of the whole community all over the world, and that's the kind of collaboration that we love at the Functional Forum. This ecosystem that has been set up by the meetup groups, we believe will be the future ecosystem of this evolved primary care network that we are looking to develop, and it all revolves around you. There are meetups all over the country, all over the world.
We want to bring functional medicine to the masses.
We have 250,000 views, and you can see it's starting to uptick. Our vision at the Evolution of Medicine and the Functional Forum is to empower 100,000 practices based on two principles: root cause resolution and community health. There's an exponential potential to the future of medicine. This is an allopathic conversion machine that we have just created, and I'm very excited to be part of it. And it has exponential potential because it can be seen by 1 billion people at no extra cost. That's the beauty of the internet. I'd like to think that's the kind of collaboration we've inspired at the Functional Forum. Thank you so much for being part of our community. We'll see you next time.
Hello and welcome to the December 2016 Functional Forum. This is our 33rd episode and we're so glad that you've joined us. This has been an incredible year for the evolution of medicine. We left our home of New York and have traveled all around the world to hear from communities and practitioners as they build their functional and integrated medicine communities. The word community has been a key part of the evolution of medicine, and back in November you heard me give a definition of community from Charles Eisenstein, that a community was a group of people bound together by gifts and stories. That quote came from Charles's incredible keynote that he gave at our Future of Functional Summit last summer in Utah. Here's 7 minutes from Charles to give you an idea of where that came from and what his thoughts are about the power and intention of community.
The key word here is community. That's been mentioned by quite a few people. Community. And I want to say, actually, like, we talk about community a lot, and the word is bandied about a lot, but I think I'm not sure if we really understand what community is. And the reason we don't understand it is because we don't have it. So community is, the way I think of community, it's a group of people who are bound together by gifts and stories. In a traditional, like say a small village, every person in that village owes something to somebody else. Every person in that village has received gifts from somebody else and relies on each other. If you like stop being generous, stop taking care of people and become selfish, then nobody's going to take care of you when you're in need. Gifts create ties, they create connections. If I make a gift to you and you pay me for it, if I give you something, here's I don't know, like say, Chris, right? Like say you give me a bottle of some elixir, you know? And like, I don't even know what's in it, but I'm like, hey, he gave it to me, I'm gonna drink it. Is that a good idea? Anyway.
That's a great idea.
So then like, suppose I'm like, so if I like give you $50, then our transaction is done. You've given me the elixir, I've given you the money, the transaction is complete and there's no tie left between us. And you might even be insulted if I did that. I'm like kind of like saying, I don't want to owe you one. I don't want to be bound to you. I don't want to be connected to you. But if you give it to me and, oh, thank you, and I take it and I use it, then if you ask me a favor in the future, if I see you next time, I'm going to be well disposed toward you. Or maybe if I never see you again, I'm going to feel, but we're in a community, I'll be like, yeah, this is a group that takes care of each other. And I know that if I'm generous, I'll be taken care of too. And you'll experience that, being generous and being taken care of too. And you might start, your wheels might be starting to turn here in the areas of marketing and things like that. So a community is a group of people who are bound together by gifts, who need each other. And that's why a typical suburban neighborhood has no community. You know, you look around, I mean, when I moved back to this country, you know, I wanted to create community. And I looked around my neighborhood, and no matter how many potlucks we had, the fact was nobody needs each other. And if the person next door died and stopped producing whatever he produces, it doesn't affect me because I source everything in my life from remote strangers. Food, shelter, clothing, medicine, entertainment. So a community sources those, at least some of those things, internally from each other. So this business model that's being talked about of a kind of a community of care is aligned with the story of interbeing. Because in a community, your well-being is my well-being. If you are healthy, then you'll be able to give more back to me. If you're or to him, and he gives to her, and he gives to her, and then it comes back to me. The gift travels in circles. So your health is my health. Your good fortune is my good fortune, and your misfortune in, say, you know, a traditional village or a hunter-gatherer community, that's my misfortune too, because your gifts are now no longer available. And we can see ecosystems this way too. Ecosystems, we didn't used to understand this. We used to think that you know, there's some good species and some harmful species, and that humans can improve the world by weeding out the harmful species. We didn't understand that nature too is a gift network. So the understanding of gift and community is a core feature of the story that we're moving into. So I would envision you know, a community of care where it's not a one-way model of practitioner and patients, but someone was talking about, you know, it has a health coach, you know, it has a physician, it has a whatever, but, you know, have you noticed that especially among patients who have really migrated out of the old normal, that they have a tremendous amount of knowledge. Often they'll come into the doctor and they'll know more about the condition than the doctor will, because it's their condition and they've done huge amounts of research, thanks to some of you in this room, because the information is now available. You know, they go on to greenmed.info or whatever, and they can do like embarrassingly large amounts of research, and maybe some of it's a bit off, you know, and it's not like they can do it alone, but they can do it in community. And so they go to the doctor, and the doctor learns from them also, and then shares experience with them. And so you have a different model of care emerging, which is really a return of medicine to the people. And I think that, you know, we've seen a trajectory of over several centuries of the migration of medicine into the realm of experts and high technology, and therefore high expense, and away from the aunties and grandmothers, the herbalists, who could handle maybe 90% of anything. And then maybe like the other 10% would have to go to the traveling doctor with his black bag, you know, or to the shaman, or to somebody with more expertise. But, you know, in general, people were not so helpless. So this is pointing to a reclamation of the other meaning of the word doctor, which is, of course, teacher. a different model of care, which is no longer incentivizes the practitioner to have sick patients. And yeah, a return of medicine to the people.
Wow, wasn't that a powerful session? You can see the full segments from all of the interviews featured in today's forum on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/functionalforum. And I would also recommend to download or read Charles's book, The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. So now that we have an established definition for the power of community and what it can do for all of us, how do we actually access this in medicine? That's something that our next guest, Dr. Dean Ornish, has been looking at for over 30 years as a leader in the field of cardiology. In this interview, we look at Dr. Ornish's program called Intense Cardiac Rehab and how that program can be delivered by integrated professionals all around the country. It was a great session, and here's one of the segments. Doc, one of the things that we talk about at the Evolution of Medicine is the potential for integrative and functional medicine centers to become real centers of health creation in the local communities. How can these practitioners tap into the good work that you've been doing and actually do this on insurance?
Well, when Medicare agreed to cover our program in 2011, we were deluged with literally thousands of requests from healthcare professionals who wanted us to train and certify them in our program. And we're just a small nonprofit. So we spent a year and a half looking for the right partner, business partner, and we settled with a group called Healthways based in Tennessee so that we could focus on the clinical aspects. And the model is that they've been marketing this primarily to health systems and hospitals and so on. I said, let's market it to physician groups. That's who really needs it the most. And also the incentives are completely aligned, because if a physician refers a patient to our program in a hospital, there's no economic incentive or benefit for doing that. But if they offer it themselves as part of a physician group, then all the revenue goes directly to them. So it's a way, at a time when many physicians particularly cardiologists, are finding their income is being cut back as they're not doing as many stents as they were, they're cutting back on non-invasive testing and so on. Here's a chance to, practice the kind of medicine that's really fun. You know, if all we are is a collection of algorithms, we're going to get replaced by an iPhone app. You know, computers do that better. But I know I went into medicine, I imagine most of the people watching this went into medicine to be healers, not just technicians. And so it gives us an opportunity to create a new paradigm where we spend 72 hours with patients, and yet the physician isn't spending most of that time. It's really fun practicing medicine when you empower your patients with information that transforms their lives and makes them get better and better and wean them off medications in most cases. Again, under their supervision, the physician controls all therapeutic decisions related to the patient, but it gives them the tools and the time and the effort that they don't normally have and the reimbursement to make this viable. So in our model, we train a group of people. Ideally, it should be a physician group of 10 or more cardiologists, or they can be primary care doctors or internists or endocrinologists, but cardiologists especially, because they have the largest number of people with heart disease, which is what Medicare is paying for right now. And Medicare will pay for 72 hours of training, and they keep raising the rate of reimbursement. It's now on average about $107 an hour times 72 hours is around $7,600 a patient, which is a lot. And the patients come for 4 hours at a time, so they get an hour of supervised exercise, an hour of a support group, an hour of yoga and meditation, an hour of a group meal with a lecturer, as we were talking about earlier. And this can be done in their office. It can even be done from after hours when you've already paid for the space and so on, so this is just an incremental cost. And because we do this in groups of 15 people at a time, it's really 15 people times $107 an hour, or over $1,500 an hour. And of course, you don't pay a yoga teacher or a dietitian or an exercise physiologist that much. So it really helps to, if you're doing this as part of an integrative medicine practice, it helps to defray the costs of other interventions that aren't yet covered by Medicare or by other insurance companies. But it provides an opportunity to provide these kinds of services that patients really want, that are incredibly emotionally gratifying for us as healthcare providers to offer our patients, in a way that can actually double or triple your income, and therefore make this much more sustainable in a way that can last and can really be to everyone's advantage. And then because we're collecting data on all the people who go through, it allows us to do large scale research at a fraction of the cost.
Doctor, one of our goals here at the Evolution of Medicine is to move more doctors across, to move doctors from traditional medicine into integrative functional and lifestyle medicine. What would you say to those doctors who are currently on the fence, who haven't made it across, to encourage them to make it on this journey?
Well, it's a very powerful way of practicing and a very emotionally gratifying way of practicing medicine for both the providers and for the patients. And this integrates very well into functional medicine practice. There's nothing here that is at odds with functional medicine. Rather, it's a synergy of the two. Integrative medicine, it is integrative medicine. President Clinton appointed me to this White House Advisory Commission on Complementary Alternative Medicine Policy. President Obama appointed me to this White House Advisory Commission on Integrative Medicine and Public Health and Prevention. It is an integrative medicine. It is preventive and public health medicine. But the nice thing about it is what's different from these other things is that it's reimbursable at a very high level. And so that provides a sustainability that enables you to offer, say, integrative medicine approaches that aren't yet reimbursable by Medicare or by insurance to make your practice more financially viable and sustainable. And that's the painful lesson that I learned many years ago, that if it's not reimbursable, it's not sustainable. And now it is. And so this is my life's work. This is what I want it to be our life's work. This is our mission, where we can work together to create a whole new paradigm of healthcare that brings in, no one has a monopoly on truth, including me, especially me, but we can all work together and find ways of continuing to advance the field and evolve the recommendations, do high quality research so we can really be of best service to our patients, which is really what it's all about anyway.
A big thanks to Dr. Dean Ornish for doing the interview, and for anyone who's interested in running his program, make sure to check out the whole interview and some of the resources that they've created to make it easy to replicate his program. Now, whatever area of integrative medicine you're in, one of the key areas that we have to look at is behavior change. And earlier this year, I had the opportunity to attend a conference with Dallas Hartwig, one of the leaders in the field of behavior change in the integrative and functional medicine community. And now he was part of a panel with Dr. Rangan Chatterjee and Dr. Kelly Brogan at Summit, and he gave this incredible answer to looking at how do we actually facilitate behavior change in most people. Check it out. What were your sort of underlying thoughts about behavior change, and how were they modified by that interaction with Professor Fogg?
So my kind of interest historically has been in giving people tools to make their lives better. And I'm most well known for my work with the Whole30, which is a short-term nutrition intervention. But I'm always interested in what other tools can be developed to do something similar, to kind of be the key to unlock something in a person at the right place and time. And I was aware of Professor Fogg's work he was the founder of the Persuasive Tech Lab at Stanford in 1994, I think. He's one of the first people to ever study how computers affect human behavior. And so he has a great deal of insight about this in the realm of tech. And so he was aware of my work with the Whole30 because he was intrigued because it didn't really follow the rules that he thought things should work by. So this is kind of the interesting thing, and we did actually quite a bit of dissection of the way we built the Whole30 program, and kind of came to sort of some conclusions about why it worked despite it not making sense with what he had discovered over the last 20 plus years. So one of his fundamental premises is that you have to meet people where they are and help them be successful or feel successful doing the thing that they already want to do, even if you don't think, this was a change for me, even if you don't think that's actually the best thing for them. So lots of patients would come to me and they'd say, I need help dialing in my nutrition plan, and we get talking, and I'd find out that they're only sleeping 5 hours a night and they're exercising compulsively, and I'm like, actually I don't care what you do with your food, let's look at this other stuff, and that's not really what they wanted to do. In the one-on-one, kind of clinician-patient interaction, you can usually get a hold of them and kind of make them do the thing that you think they should do. That doesn't work when you're distributing that to large amounts of people kind of on a large platform. No matter how persuasive your language is or how low the barriers to entry are or whatever. So that's sort of his kind of idea that you have to meet people where they are, even if you don't necessarily think it's the best place for them to start. And then success breeds success, and you kind of go from there. And then you have the opportunity to kind of steer people. And that was a good reframing for me. His model for behavior, not so behavior change, but to do any behavior, is essentially this intersection of motivation, ability, and the right trigger, or the right prompt. And of course, that all kind of makes sense to us. Like you'd alluded to a little bit earlier, motivation is exceedingly hard to create in people. And so much of the behavior change programming that we've seen in the past is motivational in nature. It's new language. It's rah, rah, rah. It's, here are all the reasons. We're going to scare you with what's going to happen if you don't do this behavior. We're going to motivate you with how sexy you're going to look if you do, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really looking primarily at the motivational component. What we did with the Whole30, and we didn't design it this way sort of because of any of this research. I guess it was sort of part intuition, part my clinical background. But it's primarily giving people an enormous amount of free resources where the barriers to entry are really low, and we made it easier for people. We gave people the ability to do it. And there's some like rapport building language built in that can be motivational in nature, and that can also sort of be the right trigger, the right language, the right cue for people who are receptive to this, they're receptive to this message. And in that population, people are exceedingly successful. That's not true for all populations. And so my changing gears now is driven partly by the annoyance of not making that work for everybody, because I really want it to work for everybody. And to your point about not ramming it down people's throat, it's not about creating more motivation in people. It's not about making it easier, because it's already a free program that's distributed on all kinds of different platforms, and there's tons of supportive resources. And it's not even necessarily about creating different triggers. A lot of it really is being patient and identifying the time in their life when their motivation, their own motivation is high, and you're basically sort of becoming an opportunist and creating different triggers for different behaviors for different people at different times in their life. So all this sort of multiple choice, the contexts are different, and that's really what I'm working on now, is going beyond food, going into like movement and sleep and the power of human connection, and looking at these other areas and matching up the right triggers, the right language, making it easier, giving people the ability to be successful, and then opportunistically when their motivation is high, and sometimes that's after a health crisis, right? We see this like massive increase in motivation to do a thing, to be consistent with a certain behavior after a health crisis. And those of you who are physicians or other clinicians can often create that health crisis, or the perception of the health crisis, if it's your style to get a bunch of lab work done, to look at the numbers and say, here are all the reasons why you're going to die in the next 10 years if you don't change your behavior. And that can be a really powerful motivator. That doesn't resonate with me as sort of like a fear-based approach. However, if it gets people to jump on the train, and if that's the like transient momentary motivation combined with the right making it easy for people to do, and you can get people on the train, you can change the language. And some people are only motivated by fear or pain avoidance or these kinds of things for a moment, and you have the opportunity to kind of create this arc of movement where you start where they are and you speak to them in the language that they need to get started, and success breeds success, and then you can change that over time as they start to believe in themselves and develop self-efficacy and all this stuff over time. So it's the challenge I'm coming with now is that there's so many different types of people and so many different cues and triggers and ways to make it easier and ways to identify when their motivation is high and all these different things, that like it's growing into this really complex algorithm, especially if I'm stepping outside of food. But that's where I'm going from there, and I have this tremendous honor of Professor Fogg kind of taking me under his wing and giving me some extra attention on that. And I think it's actually going to be really critical in developing a program that will be kind of I'm describing it like privately as the Whole30 on steroids. Like it's a behavior change program on so many different levels, accessible to so many people because I'll make it easy, that it's going to be a massive thing if I ever get it done.
Wasn't that a great segment? If you want to watch the whole session with Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, Dr. Kelly Brogan, and Dallas Hartwig, make sure to check it out on our YouTube channel. Now, you know here at the Evolution of Medicine that we are passionate about behavior change, and that's why we feature people like Dallas Hartwig in our content, and Dr. Dean Ornish. But the truth is, we need a business model for the delivery of integrative medicine that incentivizes behavior change too. And what we saw last year, that there were a lot of practitioners that were interested in a new business model. A business model that looks more like a membership than the current fee-for-service system, whether you're inside the insurance system or not. And so we put together a class called Building Your Functional Medicine Membership Practice, and we brought in Tom Blue to teach the class, and we're actually launching it this week. So if you're interested in building a membership practice and finding out how to switch your practice to a direct primary care model, and interested in how the direct primary care and functional medicine worlds can fit together, this course is for you. Check out some of the highlights from the attendees and from the content.
Now, if you think about the physician as a small business owner, in every way, the landscape that's sort of laid out before doctors as business owners is absurd.
It's time for me to step in to the new model, because that is exactly where healthcare is going.
We need a model that creates the right incentives.
I wanted to have a model that would take the object of money off the table in each visit discussion.
I want to introduce you now to my friend Tom Blue, who has been at the cutting edge of this conversation for more than a decade. We've created a course called Membership Practice Builder, and there are some significant benefits to taking this course. First, if you build a membership practice, you're going to have recurring, predictable revenue.
How do we now create value for yourself and for your patients in a way that's win-win?
We think that membership as the payment model and functional medicine as the clinical model go hand in hand, and we're super excited to bring new practitioners to this emerging paradigm.
I love the membership model that's being presented. I think it's a very attractive model for functional medicine doctors as well as their patients. It's a win-win situation. It's obviously far superior to what traditional medicine has to offer. The detail that we went into regarding the model itself, how to implement the model, the thought process in developing the model was really a good thought process.
It enables you to capture value for the services that are not valued by the payer system. So you can have a private pay business model that works in concert with charging insurance. You can have a private pay business model that works completely separate from any kind of relationship with third-party payers. But regardless, what you've done the moment that you step into private pay medicine is you've created a mechanism to capture value for the things that are not valued by the system.
I had no idea that there were so many different ways to do it and that it was so highly adaptable, and I could truly customize it to what I want.
You all will come out having learned the foundational knowledge that you need in order to overlay your unique vision for the future of your practice on it, and then make something that thrives on the other end.
So I've been really impressed with the training and the level of taking it from a passion and a purpose to actually getting into the details. How do you build a membership? How much time will you need to spend with each patient in the membership? And how do you price it accordingly?
What we're going to attempt to do is have everyone actually leave this experience having created a draft of a business plan and also kind of financially forecasted the viability of your plan so that you can go home and take action on it.
Now I have so many answers, and I feel really confident that I can go forward and build this model. And I'm going to finally have the practice that I've always wanted to have and help as many people as I can. And I just couldn't be more excited.
Don't think for a moment that what you've trained and studied and the investment that you've made to bring you to this very place right now is without a marketplace.
He's given us the cutting edge information and technology we're going to need in order to make these changes.
And don't think for a moment that you're in any way unable to deliver enormous value in the context of our really kind of crippled healthcare system.
I think the tools, the spreadsheets, and the other tools that we're coming away with are just great templates.
Everybody in the practice can benefit from being a part of this program, not just the practitioner and not just the office manager.
By separating from the payer system and creating this recurring revenue stream on a private basis, you change the value proposition. So it's important that you all think about not just what you're doing today and how do you create a financially sustainable practice today, but how do you create a practice that is an asset for retirement?
This is leading to a new wave of practices, and this doesn't just work in America, this is working all around the world.
It's breeding a whole new appreciation for practitioners who can deliver real live preventive medicine and actually restore people from a heavy dependence on medication in the healthcare system to a state of relatively good health, mostly independent of the healthcare system and medication. So people are reconnected to the return on the investment and actually investing in their own health.
If you are really invested into changing healthcare, changing the way we treat people in functional medicine and medicine in general, this is the way to do it.
So if you are interested in the direct primary care membership style practice, make sure to go to goevomed.com/membership to find out more about this course. Now, whatever type of practice you're running, whether it be fee-for-service, working on insurance, or doing direct primary care, you need certain things to make your practice run successfully. And that's why we're really excited and wanted to say thank you to all of the sponsors that have made it possible to have the Functional Forum throughout the year. And all of those sponsors make it easy for you to run a practice, whatever your model. So a special shout out to Igbo, the Uber for phlebotomists. If you want to find out more how they can help you run your tests more efficiently, go to goevomed.com/Igbo. Our first sponsors at the Evolution of Medicine are still here because many practitioners are finding it really important to have a coach that can help them build a successful practice model. So thanks to Freedom Practice Coaching. To find out more about them, go to goevomed.com/FPC. And whatever business model you're running, there are certain things that the modern practice just has to have. Automated patient education, automated and organized patient acquisition and marketing and community building, and also really efficient delivery of care. And so if you're interested in finding out more about our accelerator program that we launched in October, go to goevomed.com/accelerator. Thanks so much for being such an amazing part of our community. This has been an incredible year for the Evolution of Medicine. But now we're getting to the main event, which is we want to hear from you. The future of Functional in 5 was an idea that we came up with this year to allow you to share your story and give your gift to the local community. And so whether you do it tonight or in January's forum, February's forum, or March's forum, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your 5-minute talk from the heart, no slides, about the future of functional. And you could be a doctor, you could be a specialist, you could be a primary care doctor, you could be a health coach, you could be any type of integrated provider, you could be a nurse, you could be a sales rep, and you could be just a regular person that's passionate about the future of medicine. We want to hear your ideas. You can see some of the ones that we've recorded on our YouTube channel.
Here's an example of a great future of Functional in 5 from Sandy Scheinbaum, the founder of the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. Check it out, and I hope it inspires you to do your own talk.
I want to take you on a guided imagery journey. So settle into your seats, maybe close your eyes, or just lower your gaze. Begin to tune in to your breathing. Imagine it's about a year or two from today, and you have created your ideal functional medicine practice. Your practice is growing. You and your patients are thriving. Imagine walking into your office with energy and looking forward to your day. Your team greets you. And on your team is your health coach. A coach who speaks the same language, the language of functional medicine, because she has been trained in functional medicine principles. So you can go through your day with ease. Maybe you found this person because she was in your office all along. She might have been a nurse. Or maybe she was someone you met at a functional forum meetup group and you connected. And your coach is not only trained in functional medicine principles, but trained in positive psychology coaching. So she is your patient's ally, their personal cheerleader, to educate and guide and support them to make those very difficult diet and lifestyle changes, changes that you advocate, but didn't have the time to do what was necessary to help them reach those goals. But your health coach has the time. Imagine the possibilities. Maybe see your coach out walking with your patients or going into their homes for pantry makeovers and hands-on cooking lessons or supermarket tours. So your life is less stressful now. Maybe see yourself leaving your office at the end of the day, maybe earlier than before, So you now have time for family and friends and pursuing new hobbies. And as you leave, glance at your waiting room, because maybe it's being transformed into a group room, a room where your coach is doing after-hours wellness programs, maybe leading a mindfulness group with guided imagery, like we're doing right now, where they can develop their vision for optimal health. And as we prepare to come back to your immediate surroundings, imagine the screen behind me has one slide. And the title of that slide is 5 Reasons to Bring a Health Coach into Your Practice. And underneath that title, there's a citation in small print recognizing the journals that publish this research. Well-respected journals like Annals of Family Medicine and one published by the American Psychological Association. So reason number 1, your patient's quality of life improves. Number 2, their physical health improves as measured by lab markers such as hemoglobin, A1C, and those changes are sustained over time. Number 3, your physical well-being improves and you have less stress. Number 4, your financial bottom line gets better because your coach is bringing in great new services that are cash-based. And finally, number 5, you are on the cutting edge. If your health coach might be working virtually, she's not even in your practice or local area, and you are using technology now because your coach is monitoring with wearables, for example. So you are a true visionary and cutting edge in healthcare. Thank you for going on this journey with me, as my mission is to see that there's a health coach in every medical practice. Thank you very much.
So in the spirit of what Charles Eisenstein shared earlier with his definition of community, of a group of people bounded together by gifts and stories, the question that I want to ask to you, our supporter, and people who watch the Functional Forum is, what is the gift and what is the story that you could provide to this community? And I think the future of Functional in 5 is one obvious way in which you can provide a gift to your local community and also to the community at large. But whether you're watching this at home, whether you're listening to this in your car, or whether you're part of a meetup group, what is a gift that I could provide to my local practitioner community to help this community thrive? That's a question that you're going to have to answer, but that is something that in 2017 we hope will take our community to the next level.
So in 2017, we are taking the Functional Forum to the next level. Our goal in 2017 is to introduce new doctors to our integrative and functional medicine community. And so we've created 12 shows that are going to incentivize those doctors to come across to integrative and functional medicine. So we're going to start in January with the Evolution of Oncology, featuring Dr. Dwight McKee, Nalini Chilkov, Dr. Steve Eisenberg, and Andrea Nakayama. And then throughout the rest of the year, we're going to have the evolution of psychiatry and cardiology and family medicine and environmental medicine and neurology, all designed to engage more doctors from your community into the new integrative medicine communities that we're building around the Functional Forum. And so if you know some of those types of doctors, get ready to invite them to one of these events. It's going to be a really incredible way to build our integrative medicine community. So get ready, January 9th, live from Los Angeles. It's going to be the Evolution of Oncology. We'll see you there.